And I was like, no, excites me so much. I want to do it. And then I invited all my friends, told them about this is what's gonna happen. This is the dates, and then the highlight will be my birthday. So a proper build up, like you have in a story arc, because obviously I'm a filmmaker, so I want to create film-like experiences. And nobody said yes.
Hello, 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 and welcome to 52 Weeks of Flow, the podcast that delves into the depth of human potential and the transformative power of flow. On this show, we talk about peak performance, flow, energy, and bridge the gap between science and woo-woo. Through authentic stories and real-life examples, my guests and I will help you dive into your superpowers and create your next level of success. My name is Bea-Marie, neuroscience geek, flow enthusiast, and your guide to rewilding yourself. I'm on a mission to raise the frequency of the planet by supporting you to untame yourself and step into your flow.
Before we dive deep and talk to our very first male guest on the show, I want to invite you into something truly special. The Lionsgate portal is opening, and that means the energy of expansion, magnetism, and alignment is at an all-time high. And for a short time only, my signature program, Magnetic Me, is available for just €889. I know, mind blown. But this price is exclusively for my community. And if you're listening right now and thinking, am I part of this? Yes, you are, because you're listening to this right now, because you're part of the Flow community, because you are a valued member of my universe. This is your chance to activate your magnetism, collapse timelines, and become the person who doesn't chase but attracts. But don't wait. This offer won't stay open for long. Click the link in the description, grab your spot, and step into the version of you who leads with power, softness, and flow. And now, let's talk about time, emotion, and alignment with Nick Szymczak. Welcome back to a new episode of 52 Weeks of Flow. Today, with an extra special that will become a regular. Today, I'm interviewing the first male guest on this podcast. Woohoo! And this is no one ordinary, I would say. Because Nick Szymczak is an award-winning filmmaker and expert in subconscious traveling. And we talk about a lot of subconscious here on this podcast. He is blending documentary storytelling with personal growth themes like polarity, breathwork, community building, and unlocking passion. And if you've been a follower of 52 Weeks of Flow, you know we live and breathe passion here. He transformed his craft into the Time Hunt, an interactive multi-day adventure that invites participants to tap into childlike curiosity, emotional depth, and authentic connection to enrich life's quality. And this is exactly what we're doing here on 52 Weeks of Flow. We're helping you to enrich your life's quality by tapping into your flow. And I cannot wait to bring Nick on and have a powerful conversation with him. So, welcome, Nick.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I am so excited for this. And so, if people don't know you, give me 3 things that they need to know about you that even those that do know you might not know about you.
Processing. I think what recently I'm kind of getting more into and acknowledging myself towards and allowing myself also to be is being more sensitive and not pushing through all the time and executing and doing and hustling, but also acknowledging this soft and sensible, sensitive side in me. I think that's one thing that people might not know about me. I guess people know about me, but I think it's still relevant to tell, is that I'm just I think it's more the way, like, I don't see myself so extreme in it, but other people keep telling me about it, that I am like this. And that's kind of like, I'm like, when I, because I obviously don't see my face when I talk with somebody, except I'm in a podcast and I see myself. But people then just refer back to me the moment we said, hey, we could do this or play this game. Nick, your eyes lit up so big. And therefore they kind of always refer to me as like a really playful person, and somebody that is just like really, yeah, passionate about connecting to playfulness. And a third thing, I'd say is, it goes a bit with the sensible, I guess, but I notice a lot. Dot.
That is so interesting because we just started playing a game at my house called the noticing game. And like we don't do tasks. Like I don't believe in you have to do this, I don't believe in chores like that. But we play the noticing game, and we have this little board where when you notice something, you can put a sticker somewhere. And my kids start to love this game because all of a sudden they come up and say, "Mommy, I noticed my boxers, my shorts were still on the stairs." And I was like, "Okay, so what did you do with them?" "Well, I just noticed it." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. It's the noticing game." So the next step then is to, you know, clean them up. But yeah, so I love that you're going through life with this, yeah, curiosity, and that you're aware of your surrounding. And I said that in the introduction, that you created Time Hunt to bring back this childlike play. Like, what is Time Hunt, and why did you bring it back? Like, why did you create it?
Yeah, it was not planned. It was more out of an mistake is the wrong word, but an accident. Or like a wonder of, like, the story I always tell, and that's the true story, is that I turned like 33 years ago, 2 years ago. And before that was happening, I sat down and was like, 30. Okay, I'm entering a new time of life. It's, for me, actually, is not as a big step, but in society, there is like this, okay, you're now your 30s. I was like, okay, keeping that in mind, I was like, okay, if I could make something, I celebrated, right? Like, I think the last party I threw was like when I was 25. So I was like, okay, maybe it's time to throw a party again. And thinking about, because it's in October, I didn't really feel renting a venue and then inviting everybody, and then you get drunk and have the conversation 5 times with the same people because you haven't seen them in a while, but they come because it's your 30s and stuff like that. So I didn't feel that would be the appropriate way to celebrate life. And so I was sitting down like 3-4 months before my birthday. I was like, what could I imagine that is worth celebrating life? Like this occasion of like you being born and exposed to all of this. And I was like, if I could do anything. And then my mind was like, okay, Nick, you can do anything. Just think big. I was like, okay, if I could do anything, then I think then I would do the most epic treasure hunt, Schnitzeljagd, scavenger hunt ever in a distant city where there's like quests and riddles and tasks like in Indiana Jones and Sherlock Holmes, or like if you would dive into a Dan Brown novel and like do all the things a perfect week would need, like exercising, dancing, celebrating, having super deep conversations, meeting new people that are inspiring, learning about a new culture, like everything I could pack into a week. And I thought, this sounds nice. And then I started researching, and is there something like that? Maybe even just 2 days, 3 days, whatever. Just like a proper adventure for adults. And then it was like really frustrated because I didn't find anything. Like if you look something like that up, you get like 2 or 3 hour city counted windows sightseeing trips. And it was like, this is not what I'm looking for. And then it was a bit shaky because I was like, okay, fuck, then I have to organize this, but then I can also not do it. And I was like, no, excites me so much. I want to do it. And then I invited all my friends, told them about this is what's going to happen. This is the dates. And then the highlight will be my birthday. So a proper build up like you have in a story arc, because obviously I'm a filmmaker. So I want to create film-like experiences. And nobody said yes. And it took me a while to understand why. Because I was also still not believing it at that point that this could happen. I didn't book anything. And yeah, and then the time passed and I was like, fuck, but I want this. The alternative option is go to a Vipassana silent retreat and just not celebrate. But then I said, fuck this. I really want this. I'm going to book the venue now. Like I rented a really amazing Airbnb and said, guys, I booked it. And then one friend said, okay, I'm coming. And then a week later, 5 other friends, okay, I'm coming too. And then they popped in. And then in the end, we were like 10 people from the span all over my life. They didn't know each other because they were like, this person I know from 5 years ago, this person just recently. So, and they came. And we had to do quick connection games. We did breathwork, did cacao ceremonies, so everything I learned on my path to just like connect people in like kind of like make the time just expand basically, but intensify the experience. And then we had the most amazing time. I think it's still like if I look back, it's like a memory that I will tell when I'm 80 to everybody that wants to hear it. It's been definitely a time mark. And to wrap it up, it was so amazing. People gave me amazing feedback. Even one said like, it changed my life. Obviously, it was in her particular situation that she kind of like needed to change, new people, new inspiration. I was like, okay, this is so nice. And everybody else that couldn't come because they had to work and stuff like that were also, yeah, if you do it again, let me know. I was like, okay, I'm doing it again. And then it escalated.
I think it's so fascinating that you call it time hunt. Like why did you call it time hunt?
Do you want the fancy explanation or the the life happening explanation?
The truth, the deep and raw truth.
Well, if you just narrow it down, it would be say, so my company is called Time Waves because I was looking for a name in my company where all the experiences I'm creating come together. And what I see with traveling to the subconscious and I can also tell a bit about this another point, but also making films, like when you watch films where you deeply immerse in it, time fades. You just like in the end, and then you're, oh yeah, I'm this reality. Oh, this is over now. And you kind of like lose track of time. So it's kind of like a wave. And so that's why I called my company Time Waves. And therefore I was okay, I'm gonna then kind of this time hunt, this treasure hunt came along, and it was like, okay, how do I call this? And then I was like, okay, well, let's call it Time Hunt.
Okay.
But then having that name set, I also thought, wow, it's something interesting because time is one of the, if not the most important asset that we have, and how we spend it and the quality of the time how we use it. And hunting is a bit depending on what your what your diet is. It's maybe a bit biased, but if you're hunting something, you're highly focused. You're completely immersed in the present moment. There's nothing, you don't think about the future or the past so much. It's like you having a goal, getting it. And if you put that on the goal, which would be most amazing time, you would it's a bit of a brain circuit, short circuit, if you think about it. But yeah, in the end, it's time hunting. You hunt the most amazing time of your life.
This is really, really cool. And at the same time, I want to challenge this because I truly believe that there is no concept of time, because there are universal laws for everything important, but not for time. There's no universal law for time. And we have been taught that time is linear, that everything follows something. That first you do this, then you do this, then this, then this, then this. But since I'm doing the work that I'm doing, I experience, like you already said, that time collapsing, time expanding, that time is actually what we make of it, but it's never linear. It is never something that that we hunt, that we like. For me, it's more of a thing that we experience, and that we create for ourselves. And since I stopped saying I don't have time, because I used to say that a lot, especially when my kids were like babies. I don't have time for this. Oh no, I have all the obligations that came. And so time was very, very precious for me, because I was believing in the concept that I only had 24 hours a day, that I only have this and so many seconds a day. And since I don't believe that anymore, I have so much time all of a sudden. I fall back into the narrative of, oh my God, it's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What did I do with my time? But then, relaxing into this, there's so much time. I just need to figure out how to flow with it.
Where's the challenge? I feel that kind of comes, I'm totally agreeing with you. Maybe I have to rephrase my words then. Or like the chasing or the hunting of time could also be, you could also frame it in a way it's like you're chasing your experience of time, or like the truth of time. Or
I didn't want to criticize your words or anything, not like that.
No.
But it's just fascinating to me, that because I'm also working a lot with male and female energy, and how the perception is so different. Like not male and female, feminine and masculine energy. Sorry. That when we are in our masculine energy, we hunt, we go forward, we are focused, we just shoot for it. And when we are in our feminine energy, we receive, we're open, we're flow. And so I actually love this right now, because it gives me so much food for thought.
Like I said, I totally agree with you. Like an experience that I had this month as well was, for me, also falling into the trap of time again, because there's a lot of things on my schedule. And on a retreat that I made also decision again, and I feel like I have to keep repeating until I have learned the lesson completely, that I think I have a goal until end of July, right? And I have only this limited time. I'm setting, like, if you don't see the video, I'm doing like this imaginary quote thing.
The parentheses.
And I was thinking, no, this is not true. It just needs like one day where I'm completely in flow and in my energy, and that can take 2 weeks of work of what I wanted to achieve. And therefore, it's not about to be productive or efficient in what I do. It needs to be in the right energy, because then everything just moves so much faster, or like towards the goal that what I want to try to achieve. And there I again kind of like realized this is such an illusion, because if I'm in my energy and I don't know, for example, it's about another film project I'm doing. If I could like, it's also for our male audience that maybe fall into this trap even more, is like I could have like 100 leads that I have to talk to in the end create a film. But if I'm in the right energy, and that's, I would say, is also with the feminine energy, and I'm just like manifesting or just being more aligned with my excitement and my joy, that I just call this one person out of this 100 and deal is done, instead of calling all the 100. And that, I feel that that's the difference of like the illusion of time, that I need so much time to get there, because if you align everything right, you get it in a shorter amount of time done, that we still in the kind of this illusion. And with the time hunt itself, it's the experience itself is 6 days, but it feels like a month when you're there. And what I experienced for myself, and also a lot of people that participate in the time hunt, but also people I spent time with, is that the key for me to expand time and also be more in this flow is being in touch with my emotions and allowing them to flow and go through me. And when I do that, then my life gets more vivid and alive, and time suddenly expands. And one day feels like 3 days in a positive way. And the morning seems like, okay, that's been like 5 days ago. And it's beautiful, because maybe to wrap this up, is I started being interested in time like 10 years ago. And what I did is like, I went, okay, to spend the most time on this earth, I need to work on my body, because that the vessel, that's the body that I have, will make me all like, if I work out my body, if I give my body the right food, I will probably have a longer lifespan instead of like dying longer. So that was the first step. And then at some point came the moment where, okay, but I work 8 hours a day with something that I maybe not even like. So 8 hours is wasted. So kind of like I was not free in my time management. So that was the next part to tackle, like just spend time on things that I actually like. And therefore it's well spent. And then I tapped into more the spiritual and the energetic realms, like, okay, but time experience is completely not linear. If I meditate or if I wait for something that I don't want to wait for, somehow time expands. So what is behind there? And just a bit further down the road, I actually tapped into what emotions have to do with it.
Ooh, tell me more. What do they have to do with it?
So how to like, the short version of it would be that it's not about like, this is the thought example you might know. Like somebody comes up to you and say like, hey Bea, I have here $1 million. Do you want to have it? And you say, sure, yes. But the catch is, if you have that, you're gonna die in 2 days. You still want to have it?
Nah.
Yeah. Then he said no. That means like the next 2 days is like $1 million, or whatever number is that, worth it, right? But I took it even further, because then I said, okay, here's $1 million. You want to have it? Yes. Okay. The catch is, you won't feel anything anymore until the rest of your life. You still want to have it?
No.
And what that example kind of like made up for me is like, that even if I could still live if I would not feel anything, then it would not be worth living. And therefore, not just the time itself is the most valuable thing, but the experience or the feeling of the experience. And I found myself in the past and still now so often in my day-to-day life where I kind of suppress an emotion that just comes up because I don't want to have it right now, even anger or sadness. And every time I do that, and that's what I learned on my own learnings, is that when I suppress like one of these, let's say, if you have it in a scale from up to top, and there would be more like the things that we don't like too much to experience, and there's like excitement and orgasms and all the things. I'm on top, and then on the bottom with sadness and anger, frustration, pain. If I try not to feel them, then it's not working that I just cut off this, but it also cutting off this. And depending how much I want to cut off, and for everybody listening, I'm doing a scale where you have like one extreme on the other side, and it just shortens the experience of life, because the top and the bottom just move to the middle and it gets more average, let's say. And if I really want to experience life and also want to have more pleasure and more orgasms and more joy, then I need to allow myself the bottom range of emotions as well. And I've even like one further step for that. But what I experienced once I allowed myself to feel more sadness, cry during the day, release anger. And also I see that in film experiences or in the time hunt, is that the wave, if you would go back to waves, is it like I experience life like this. I have a high, like everything is amazing, so much money's coming in, and oh, this was the best evening yesterday. And then at some point there's a turn in the week or the day, and then it goes slightly downwards. So like, oh, okay, this is why am I even doing this? Life sucks. This is so shit. I should go back and be employed. It's so much easier. Like back down to the other side of the emotion. But then at some point I also know it will go up again. And if you go through a circle of this, of amazing time to frustration, to amazing time to frustration, to amazing time, then instead of just having little waves, if you stretch them out, they have like this size. But if you have longer waves, they have this size. And that's how I kind of feel that time expands in my experience when I move in the whole range of the spectrum of emotions. The only catch is that, yeah, but I don't want to have these lows so often. I just like, I keep hearing that for myself sometimes, but also from other people, that I don't want to be so depressive, because like isn't it a possibility where we can just be more balanced in the middle, which would also occur when you are meditating, kind of like if you're kind of like tapping into the divine, basically tapping out of this illusion of our experience. And that's also amazing. I like to do that too, and also do it sometimes when I'm in the low or even in the high moment, where I just like have this third person perspective of myself, and it's like, oh, look at him, cute, experiencing human life. And to wrap this up, it's, for me, it turned out to be enjoying also the lows and feeling the healing of sadness and the power of anger and the way, like the compass of frustration, of like showing me the way. And that took a long way, and I'm still on it, but it's really beautiful, because my physical body could not carry me so long as my time now expands every day.
Oh, I love what you're touching on here. And especially I loved the wave of emotions that you drew. Especially because I truly believe that we have to feel all the emotions. Otherwise, they manifest in our body as a disease. But that at some point, when we do the work, when we meditate, when we tap into the divine, when we know our energy, when we know how to align ourselves, and I'm going to ask you that later, how you get into alignment, because you touched on that, like calling 100 leads and then that one person when you're in alignment. So I'm getting back to that. But when we are aligned, when we live in alignment, when we live from our essence, the lows are not that low anymore. Our baseline elevates. So I'm going to draw again. So for those of you only listening, I'm drawing right now. So
Yeah,
when
you
you're
just
at the
have to watch
you
watch
just
the video.
you just have to come on YouTube and see us drawing in the air. So when you're at the top and when you're descending, yeah. Well, when you're going lower, when you're moving down the hill, um, it's when you're not doing the work, you sometimes you dip really, really deep, like into depression, into a state of numbness. But when you start doing the work, like this baseline down here comes up. So every time you dip, then the dip is not that steep, not that low anymore. So I truly believe that even if we raise our baseline, even if we live 80% of our lives in joy and bliss and in the upper register feelings, we still need to feel the sadness of loss or the anger of when our boundaries get mistreated or whatever it is. But we do not spend that much time there anymore, and we don't dip that deep anymore, like into this void of life is so fucked up and I want to kill myself kind of void. So, how do you get an alignment? How do you create this connection with yourself that you are in tune with your emotions, that you said that you're on the way, like we're all on the way. We're all moving the same path. But how do you do it?
Maybe I like to touch on one point that you said before. And I had a discussion with somebody else earlier this month where we also talked about these emotional waves and then these like really, really deep dips where you would think about ending life or like just being numb and stuff like that. And I was like, I think our metrics is not, it's probably not, 2D is not enough to explain this life scenario. But what I came up with, like, I don't think, because if I continue with the example of like stretching out the depth of the wave and you saying raising the standard, I would explain it for me differently, because the intensity of sadness and anger can still be really, really high on the other spectrum. But the way sadness and anger can be expressed or felt, I learned for me like a mature or more healthy way to do it through a practice that we also do on the time hut. But it's through archetypes actually. And when we fall into sadness, there's a tendency that we're playing the victim. Like everything is against us. I'm so helpless. I cannot do anything. I there's no way out. Kind of. This is like the bottom of sadness, basically. And that's when also you feel like okay, let's end this. It's not worth the struggle. But the same intensity of sadness can also be experienced in the magic of healing. Like sadness on the mature and healthier spectrum of like a level of energy you can experience is switching from this victim mentality or this victim energy of like I'm helpless towards like how can I heal with it? How can I use this power of empathy and feeling and caring and also love that is kind of attached to sadness? Because if you're not loving something, you're not gonna be sad about it. Then it's more about what you said with the work, turning the way you experience sadness, like the depth of it, into a more mature one, instead of like, and I know you didn't meant that, but to keep up with my example, lengthening the curves, to learn to use it in a way that is benefiting you when you're feeling it, and not falling into this victim, and then like we are in the last conversation, we kind of like seems that you have the bottom, and then it does doing like this, like it just kicks down for a really steep curve that is actually not a normal curve again. But coming back to your question, how do I get myself into alignment? I'd say it's acceptance. The question is actually, how do I get myself out of alignment?
Yeah.
Because in general,
that's just a subconscious given.
Because I feel like in general we're in alignment, except the things we do to get us out of alignment. But when I catch myself that I'm getting out of alignment, it's things like stress kicking in, like a traumatic response to, oh my God, I'm not gonna have enough money. That's why I need to execute and do a lot of things and get better in what I'm doing, and like all the mental things that are kind of like coming up as explanations for how can I solve this problem. So where I would also feel myself more in the masculine energy. And then obviously that's more, there's a lot of awareness more to the masculine energy then, but calming down, setting the problem aside, maybe doing breath work, and using my subconscious to just like balance again, like the decision making, like how can we solve this challenge in the most effective way? Because there's a time for masculine execution, but there's also time for the more feminine surrendering and just like attracting instead of like going out for it. And with setting it into a balance, I most of the time then receive what there's to do. Maybe in breath work, might be in meditation, and using basically, and that's what I love. Me and my partner are doing a lot of sex magic right now. Hey, we're here in the podcast of 52 Weeks of Flow. And for me, I made the experience to integrate a habit like being in flow. I tend to need a boot camp, something that where I focus, let's say 6 days on being in flow. And because you're a loyal listener to this podcast, I want to offer you a discount to the Time Hunt in October, from the 21st to 26th in Lisbon. And I would love to have you there and practice with me the expansion of time and being in flow. Love to see you there.
Yay!
Just to tap on that and leave some question marks for everybody listening that doesn't know what it is. But it falls so perfect into this description of Joe Dispenza, like how to manifest. And she said that like to manifest, that it's not enough to just have an intention to send it out. I want this. But you have to connect it to an emotion. You have to create this magnetic field through your body, this electric signal with your intention, and then you send it out. And the more intense the both are, the magnetic field and the electric signal, then it's going to resonate in the field and it will come to you. And that's again comes back to feeling the intenseness of emotions and being able to hold you in it without doing, like we talked about, this spike that just like explodes and what goes into like an immature way of experiencing an emotion that goes into rage or into victim. Or even on the positive side, it's like an archetype that a friend of mine, Matteo, created or took from another model. Is like the Joker or the Gremlin. Like when you're super excited and then you can have more. Yes, I want more. And you cannot basically, this word also a bit of addictive patterns come in because it's so much pleasure and I want more of this. And that's also an immature way of joy and excitement. And also that one to just like notice and say, okay, no, let's come back to a more adult version of this excitement that can be contained and therefore used to manifest and attract.
But does it have to be contained? Well, when we experience joy, isn't when our joy is overflowing, it can also feed others.
Yeah, for sure. Like the word contained is a bit restrictive, but I'd see it more in a way of imagine these huge bonfires that are set and we just like throwing things on it and it's amazing and we're standing around and enjoying the fire and it burns openly. But if it takes over and burns the whole village down, that's too much. But because it get out of hand, I don't know if that's it I don't know if this visible metaphor is actually helping the way I experience it, but where I'm drawing the line is, let's go with the joy, for example, and the gremlin, or for younger listeners, the Joker, if you don't know what a gremlin is. And like, if you feed it too much after midnight, it will grow into a monster. And there's a nuance of like, when does it get toxic? Let's say that's a buzzword, but when does it get? It's not feeding any positive around yourself, but also anybody else. And it's something you can notice once you're attuned to it. But I also, there can also be not a bottom. Like, does that make sense for you?
This is so interesting because that for some reason that does not exist in my world. Like for me, like joy like there cannot be enough joy. Like I thought about, like because I would draw the line if it's hurting somebody, if I'm intentionally hurting somebody with my joy. But I have like when I am in overflow with my love, with my joy, with generosity, with whatever, I experience that it is nourishing for everyone around me. Like I've never experienced that gremlin or that joker in a way. So like by myself or by the people around me. So that's why I'm saying that that doesn't exist in my world. I've never
But you
seen
might,
it.
yeah, because it doesn't feel like, if you think about joy, you have this imagination what you're just like describing, and I would also agree of that there cannot be enough of this. But you probably also saw in your life this, like, because it comes from the example of like, if there's a healthier version of experiencing anger or sadness, then there needs to be a healthy version of joy, but there needs also to be an unhealthy version of joy to experience, like the same quality of emotion, because otherwise then that would also not fit as an example. Does that make sense? And then kind of this moment when you watch a Netflix show and you think you should go to bed, because I can draw to this example, but no, let's watch one more. It's just half an hour, okay, and then you do another one. That kind of, it comes from the same emotion of joy, or like, obviously you can also say dopamine and you're just addicted to it, but and that's just a framework, right? So all the frameworks don't apply to everything, but in that framework, it would just show you, okay, you do it for joy, but the joy harms you in a way because it's not aligned anymore. So that would also, when I say I would go out of alignment when I experience an emotion in this depth, but I'm not aligned with the mature experience of it.
Interesting.
You never experienced that you overdid something because it was so nice?
Yeah, but I don't regret it. It's not something where I'm like, oh, I should not have done that.
Have
Like,
you have you drunk alcohol in your past?
yeah.
Have you had a hangover?
Oh, yeah. I had many hangovers.
You enjoyed the hangover?
No, I did not enjoy the hangover, but I did enjoy the drinking. So I would have done it probably the same way.
What? Okay, yeah. But
I've
it goes in that direction, let's say.
That is so funny. I my last hangover is like, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years ago. I didn't drink alcohol since then.
Nice. And that just shows that you're quite aligned with everything you do. And that's beautiful because that's what at least I'm also thriving for. I'm still up on a while, like to explore the not with alcohol, but in general, just like the more immature side, because it also has a point, because that leads you to healing as well again. But and I also don't feel so restricted if I just allow myself to do everything. But it sounds nice that you're on your path and enjoying and being in the flow and alignment.
Yeah, it's just like you like our conversation is really getting me thinking because I'm like, I'm not restricting myself in a way that I just know that alcohol is not good for my body. It does, me and alcohol just had a beautiful time together, but this time is over. And yeah, and I'm like, okay, where am I not allowing myself? But it's just really fascinating for me. Like my brain is on overdrive right now. So um,
I
we
have
will
one
have to
one
come
more
back.
example. Yeah, I have one more example because what I learned about this archetypal structure and this framework, it came alive there. And I think it could also work with the example like that. Sometimes when you feel, Hmm, yeah, I think it works. Like if you feel uncomfortable and you still crack a joke,
Mm,
or like you laugh, but actually, and sometimes it's so subconscious that you don't even notice that actually why you just been spending using humor to overcover what's actually inside of you. That is also the usage of the joker or the gremlin in a sense of a way that just uses joy, but it's not in a healthy version. Because actually, if something comes up and you're actually offended, but then you just crack a joke to just cut, like just keep on the mask, it was not authentic. So in that case, I don't say it's wrong or anything, but that's when also the joker kind of comes alive. And
that is something that I can relate to, and probably millions of women in the world can relate to. Because unfortunately, this is a gender problem that women feel uncomfortable in situations, but to to take the danger out of it, we crack a joke and we make it light again so that we can get out of that situation unharmed. So, yeah. So in this context, I really get it. And it's
and not beautiful, but it's nice that you could understand a piece of it. And obviously, the situation that this is happening to women is obviously not beautiful.
yeah. So how do we then use it in a more healthier way? Like, how do we solve a situation like that, for example?
Well, that's a question that is more, I think it depends on the situation, no?
Yes, definitely. But I just want to hear, like, how, instead of cracking a joke,
Give an example.
well, let's like a really, really common example. You're at a party, and for example, you see a woman talking to a man, and you can see that she is uncomfortable in his um in his well, him being near her, but
Mm-hmm.
she's still, instead of, telling him to F off, she's smiling and, trying to ease the situation a little bit.
I think what I could say to the situation is that in the end, this framework of archetypes and like how to use healthier versions of the emotions is allowing you, if you tap into it, and that comes back to being able to access these emotions when you want,
Mm.
getting angry when you want, being soft and sad when you want, being, and that would come to fear, like being highly focused when something can happen to you, but also then using the joy and the excitement to your benefit, and make everybody being excited for what you want and how you want to turn, how you want to turn it out, how strong, how you want the situation to be turning out. And depending on the situation and how comfortable you are and how your skill set is, of like how are you able to express anger, can you bring up, and then archetype for anger would be the warrior, like can you
Mm.
bring up your inner warrior to set a boundary and keep it, and make the other person feel you mean it, but not in a in a abusive way and hurting the other person's boundaries. And then in the end, learning about how to navigate through this catalog of emotions, you can choose the one that fits the best. But I guess when the situation comes up and you are not able to use anger, and you're not able to use probably anger or joy to resolve the situation. I guess anger would be the appropriate one if you feel somebody's crossing your boundaries. Then the only option would be to tap into, like you said, like the Joker, but use it in a more, the healthier version would be the sovereign, like the queen or the king, kind of in this joy emotion, and show them that you're the boss in a like, I'm leading this conversation, and that's sometimes not easy with men, because they maybe not respect you or they want to flirt with you. But if you're playing the victim in a sense subconsciously, like he would not treat you in that way if he would see the queen in you.
Mm.
So that would be the positive of the mature version of the joy, kind of, if that may be understandable. If you would see the power behind you in this non-destructive way, or not even protective way, but just the presence of like how you're giving yourself, he would not try to, because he would have respect
Interesting.
in that framework.
Yeah. Oh, I put you on the spot there, but thank you so much. This is great advice, and this is also a great way of solving situations. So because of time, I want to we have all your information. All the information is below this podcast, but tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, if you got curious about, because I didn't tell anything about Time Hunt, where kind of like all of these learnings come together, like in an experience where, and I'd say the difference to a Time Hunt, from Time Hunt to other experiences like a retreat or a vacation or a workshop, is that you most of the time sit down in a circle in a chair. But with the Time Hunt, we just immerse in the city. So we do the work that we talked about, like how to integrate and like go to the range of the emotional spectrum. We do it in the field. We do it in the city. We do it in aliveness and in joy and with the group, and with a lot of fun. And therefore, I created also an Instagram page that you can find. We have it probably linked below. And yeah, the next one is in October, 21st to 26th of October. So I don't know what you're doing, Bea, but I think you would fit perfectly there.
Yeah.
And everybody who's also interesting, you find also more information on the website, timeways.net/Lisbon, where the Time Hunt is going to be again in Lisbon, Portugal, because it's such a magical city at night and in day, close to the ocean. And yeah, I'm super excited to host another crazy people that just want to enrich their lives qualities.
This is so freaking cool. I love Lisbon. Unfortunately, in this time, I'm going to be in Turkey. But I will, yeah, we're in contact, so I'm going to know when the next one is. This sounds really, really cool. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast, for sharing all your knowledge, your joy with us, your time. And yes, one last thing. What is one thing that you would like to share with our audience? One last thing.
Life can be challenging sometimes, and it's also meant to be like this. But to make the most out of this time we're given, it's, for me at least, the only way to do is to see the fun in it, playfulness, the game of life that it presents, that is presented to us, and all the learnings that are laying in these challenges. And that is what I want to remind you of every time it feels a bit more annoying.
Thank you so much. And that's it. That's it for today. That's our show. Thank you so much for coming on and staying with us until the end. If you want to learn more about Nick's Time Hunt or what he does as a documentary filmmaker, then hit the links below, follow him on social media, write him an email, ask him questions, and come to Lisbon for the Time Hunt and have the time of your life. If you like this show, if you're new here and you want to give us a feedback, please do write us with 5 stars or write us an email, team@movingriver.com, and tell us everything that you've experienced, that you want to know, ask questions, or if you want me to dive into a certain topic, then hit me up with a topic or a guest that you would like to see or hear on this show. I love to get in conversations with you. And until next time, keep shining, keep learning, keep growing, and keep flowing.